That's right. It's time for a little segment we haven't done in a long time because there's been there have been a lot of shows we've had to talk about. Yeah, shit. But this is Star Wars Story Time.
The world famous segment, Star Wars Story Time.
And if you don't know what it is, I happen to read a lot of Star Wars peripheral material, comics and novels and stuff. And because you're an adult, you don't really have time for it, which is fine. You don't need to, because I just tell you about everything that happens, right? And so this is going to be one of those things where I tell you everything that happens in a story that I've read recently and have enjoyed, and everyone else can enjoy it as well. Before we get there, thanks to Star Wars Storytime, not Star Wars.
Star Wars.
That's us.
Comics Story.
Yeah, Star Wars Comics Story, which is a YouTube channel that you should check out, where you can read any and all of these comics for free. Is it legal? I don't know, but you might see some of the footage from his videos in this video if you're watching on YouTube. And so if go give him a subscribe and tell him good job.
He's good people
doing the Lord's work. We're doing today we're doing Yoda versus Grievous, Yoda versus General Grievous, which is written by Mark Gutenheimer and published by Marvel Comics. So leave us a like if you would, please. It would make me happy. It'd make your mother happy. At least word to your mother. Yeah. I think this is the 7th issue in this, and pretty much the whole thing is Yoda exiled on Dagobah by himself, feeling dejected, having to live with the failure of losing the Republic.
It's raining outside, so he's getting real emo and writing in his diary or whatever.
Right. And then Qui-Gon Jinn shows up and is trying to talk to him, and in every episode he's like, stop it. but
fuck off.
Yeah. So the Jedi fallen, and the Empire reigns supreme under Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader, and this is all he does now. He moseys around his little hut and he's like, my life sucks, I hate everything. And so in this particular issue, we open with Yoda in the kitchen cooking, and he's got his Gordon Ramsay video pulled up on his phone and everything, and he's trying to figure it out, and Qui-Gon's like, psst, Yoda. And Yoda's like, good God, would you please either fully die?
No, Yoda, it needs more salt.
Yeah, right. Or leave me alone. This beef Wellington is going to be dry as fuck if I let it overcook. And Qui-Gon's like, well, actually, you should probably take it out a few minutes and let it rest. He's like, I know how to make a beef Wellington, Qui-Gon Jinn. Fuck. And Qui-Gon's like, look,
I don't need cooking advice from a ghost.
Yeah. I get you're in exile. I get why, but there's nowhere you can exile yourself that will let you run from all the really bad shit happening in the galaxy right now. We've got to figure this out. And Yoda's like, you don't think I know what's happening? I'm motherfucking Yoda.
I was there.
Yeah. Vader, Palpatine, all of it. They're too powerful. I shot my shot. I lost. It's if it was so important, maybe you shouldn't have been fucking killed by Darth Maul a decade ago. That would have helped everyone if that whole thing could have happened. And Qui-Gon's like, yeah, the Force works in mysterious ways. And Yoda's like, oh, shut the fuck up. You lost a 1v1. Just fucking own it. And he's like, okay, whatever. So you think the threat's too big. What's the first lesson you teach Jedi students? And Yoda's like, if you think she's spunky, cover your monkey. And Qui-Gon's like, what? No.
Don't be a fool, wrap your tool.
Yeah. You teach that to kids? And he's like, abstinence only doesn't work. Clearly, that's how we got here.
Yeah.
So maybe I should have said that to them more. And Qui-Gon's like, that's actually a fair point.
The one about, judge me by my size.
Dude. Yeah. The one about the size. And he's like, it's not the size of the boat, but the motion of the ocean. And
God, no.
Qui-Gon's like, it's just now occurring to me, maybe you should not have been allowed around children. It's size matters not, you fucking perv. And he's like, that's literally what I just said.
Yeah.
And Qui-Gon's like, okay, you're a little out of line, but you're not wrong. Can we just do the flashback now? For fuck's sake. And Yoda's like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So this is during the Clone Wars. We go to the Ring of Kafrene, wherever the fuck that is. I didn't even know what that is. And do you remember how Rogue One opens? How there's the spy.
There's
on the street level, meeting with a shadowy figure.
It's the second or third scene, but yes.
Yeah, and they're discussing war things, right? Mm-hmm. It's pretty much that. Except it's a dude in a fucking bowl cut, and he's sneaking around the streets, and he meets this mysterious hooded figure.
Mm-hmm.
And the bowl cut dude is like, this is fucking crazy, like meeting out here in the open. The separatists have spies everywhere. And the figure's like, bitch, I've got spies everywhere. Like you. You're my spy. Yeah. Give me the information you call me about. And the dude with the bowl cut's like 50,000 Republic credits. And the
Republic credits?
Yeah. The guy's like, Republic credits are good out here. Like you don't need something more real. And the bowl cut dude's like, huh? And he's like, okay, you probably haven't seen that. Yeah. Here. And he fucking showers him with credits. And the guy's like, okay. So the separatists are up to something weird called Operation Titan. Mm-hmm. And the figure's like, okay, and what is that? And he's like, I have no idea. And so
a lot of help you are.
Throw some more credits on him. And he's like, ooh, money. It's a weapon. And he's like, what kind of weapon? And he's like, I really don't know that. But from what I hear, it'll change the course of the war. And he's like, okay, thanks. Go off. Get more information.
Go do more spy shit.
Yeah. So this hooded figure walks back to a secluded landing pad where a very familiar tiny little ship is sitting. And it's the Jedi starfighter that belongs to Yoda. The hooded figure opens its robe to reveal Jedi Master Yoda standing atop his astromech droid, just pretending to be a tall person with his hood up and shit. So he tells his
It's literally three kids standing on each other's shoulders.
So he tells his astromech droid to plot a course back to Coruscant. Mm-hmm. So they go back to Coruscant. They get to the Jedi Temple. The full council is convened. And so like he goes through what happens. He tells them what happened. And Mace Windu is like, hold on. Say the last part again. Like you were standing on top of your astromech droid pretending to be a tall person. And Yoda's like, yeah, I do that all the time. And Mace is like, why? And Yoda's like, to be tall. And he's like, okay, I mean, fair enough. But anyway, so there's a weapon. Like, do you trust the source? And Yoda's like, well, yeah, like he wouldn't lie to a tall person. Like, no one lies to tall people. It's part of the reason I fucking do that.
I gave him like 100,000 Republic credits. Yeah. Surely he has no reason to lie.
Also, I've used this source in the past and his information is generally good. Mm-hmm. And Windu is like, did he give you anything other than a name to go on? And Yoda's like, he did not. And Ki-Adi-Mundi speaks up and he's like, hold on. I'm still caught up on this whole droid thing. So you just walk around on top of your droid in a Jedi robe pretending to be tall. Like, have you done this? Have you done it to like any of us?
Yoda's like, I don't know, Ki-Adi-Mundi. Are you still fucking your three wives?
Yeah. Like, have you pulled this with any of us? And he's like, you'll never know the answer to that question. And he's like, fuck, this place is so weird. Okay. So Project Titan isn't much to go on. And Obi-Wan speaks up and he's like, hold on. The other night, someone came to my quarters and asked if I had a bottle of scotch. And Yoda's like, yeah, that was me. But you're short. Like, you're not underage. You could just go buy it yourself. And Yoda's like, can we just focus on the issue at hand, please? And Obi-Wan's like, Jesus, I really thought that was Anakin just trying to get drunk. Okay, speaking of Anakin, I guess he and his unit, General Skywalker, they've confiscated a separatist frigate. And Yoda's like, oh, nice. That means we can like hack into its computers and shit. Like maybe we can get some more information about Project Titan. So give him a call. Tell him I'm coming over to see him on that ship. So on the separatist frigate, I always want to say fritter, and it makes me hungry. Yeah. Anyway, so Anakin, like they're hanging out on the bridge, and Anakin's like, we've done some digging, we've done some slicing in this universe.
Slicing.
We might have found something useful. And apparently Project Titan is being conducted on 2 different planets, and it's being overseen on Anethium. And Yoda's like, oh shit, that's like in the Western Reaches. Like, where's it being built? And Anakin's like, I have no fucking clue. And we also have no idea what it actually is, other than it's being called Project Titan. And Yoda's like, okay, so it looks like our best bet is to go to Anethium. And Anakin's like, sure does. And he like looks really excited. And
like, I want to kill people. I want to cut up some droids.
Yoda's like, you want to come with? And he's like, yes, I do.
Yes.
So a few moments later, on Anethium, the ship, the frigate, they pull up in the frigate, the separatist frigate, and Yoda and Anakin and Captain Caesar, who is like the clone captain with Anakin at the time, they're cleared to land at the facility. And so they land and they're like sitting around like trying to figure out what to do. And Anakin's like, okay, so they're going to figure out that the clearance code is old, probably sooner rather than later. And Yoda's like, I'll just be quick. And Anakin's like, wait, we're about to infiltrate a separatist base. Like, don't you mean we will be quick? And Yoda's like, listen, you whiny fuck. If I meant we, I would have said we. Separatists don't have uniforms we can just put on and blend in. So, like, this is a stealth mission.
This is a job for someone very small.
Yeah. You do stealth about as well as a toddler with a bullhorn does stealth. So I'm going to go in alone. And Anakin's like, that was hurtful. You didn't have to be such a dick about it, but okay. We'll wait here. Keep your comm on you. And if anything goes wrong, I'll come in and save the day. So
Yoda's like, yeah, you're going to save me.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, sure.
So Yoda infiltrates the base, and he's crawling around in like those tiny service vents, and like it's a clear reference to Yoda after his duel with Palpatine, when he's like crawling around in the little tube and like trying to escape. It's literally shot for shot of that. So he gets to a vent, and like he looks down and he overhears a voice, and it's General Grievous. And General Grievous is like, what's the status of Project Titan? And Yoda's like, oh, this is real lucky. I happen to be passing right through here right now. And the droid he's talking to is like, it's going great. And Grievous is like, okay, when will it be operational? And the droid says, we'll be able to do field tests by the end of the week. And Grievous is like, good. And they both leave. And so Yoda like gives him a couple seconds. Kicks the vent.
Not quite as helpful as I was hoping.
Yeah.
But
fucking leaps out. Superhero lands on the ground like he's in a fucking Marvel movie.
Like he's Black Widow.
Yeah, it is just like that. And lands in front of a computer. And so he starts like tapping away with his like 3-fingered little fucking hands. Yeah. And Yoda's like, all right, let's see what they're up to. And so he pulls up some schematics. We don't get a good look at what it is, but he can see it. And he's like, holy shit, this is real bad.
Yeah.
And there's a voice behind him, and it's Grievous. And he's like, well.
General Yoda.
If it isn't General Yoda. And
you are a bold one.
Yoda's like, oh no, it's Grievous. I better run.
Oh, no.
And he's like, hey, did you know that I was trained in the Jedi arts by Count Dooku?
Yes. Yoda's like, yes, you fucking tell every Jedi you meet that. Like, we know already.
He pulls out a lightsaber. Yoda like pulls out his lightsaber and he's like, yeah, who do you think fucking taught Dooku how to fight with lightsabers? Also, a lightsaber is a Jedi's weapon and you're not really fit to wield it. And Grievous is like, why don't you come and take it from me? And Yoda's
do you see these 8 lightsabers I have?
Before we fight, let me show you this badass collection, actually. And he's like, come and take it from me. And Yoda's like, I thought you'd never ask. And Yoda goes into squirrel and crack mode. And like they start swinging and shit. And at first, Grievous is like, oh shit, God, you're very small, but you move very fast. But you're cute and tiny. Like there's no way someone so small is going to be able to beat me. And Yoda leaps into the air.
Yoda's like, that's what she said, bitch.
Yoda does like this like pirouette through the fucking air and like gets this real good slash across Grievous's face like mask thing. Yeah. And he's like, ouch, motherfucker.
That hurts.
Yeah, like I'm gonna have to repair that.
Yeah.
You got lucky. Like that was a fucking lucky shot. I think I'll cut your head off now. And Yoda's like, okay. And so he goes to attack and freezes mid-swing. Like freezes, eyes moving around, like, what the fuck? What is this? Let me go. And Yoda's standing there with his fucking hand out, just got the motherfucker just frozen in midair. And
he was like, where'd you think Kylo Ren got the idea?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Grievous is like, who? Don't worry about it.
It's going to make sense in a long time, but you're going to be dead.
You'll be dead. You won't know what it yet. So, like, it's one thing to fight with a lightsaber. It's an entirely other thing to fight with the Force. And Grievous is like, oh yeah, I don't have that. that would
Yoda's really, like, yeah, I noticed.
So like Yoda throws him across the room into a steam vent, and Grievous like stands up and he dusts himself off, and he's like, okay, enough of the fucking parlor tricks. Like this isn't a magic show for kids, and you won't be able to do that again. And Grievous attacks, but like out of nowhere, like a super battle droid is like walking by and like looks over and sees them and is like, wait, what?
Should I do something?
And like turns around and gets like his other super like battle droid friends to come over, and they're like, is that is that a tiny, what the fuck is that? And like, they're like, I don't know, we should start shooting at him though. Yeah. And he's like, okay. So they all start shooting at him. And Grievous is like, guys, what?
Chill the fuck out.
What the fuck? Yeah. And so Yoda takes the opportunity and jumps back up into his vent, right? And is like looking down at Grievous. And Grievous is like, guys, I almost fucking had him. And Yoda's like, no, you didn't. And Grievous is like, get back down here. And he's like, no, I got what I came for. Yeah. Also, my former Padawan, Dooku, may have taught you how to swing a lightsaber, but he clearly didn't teach you how to hold on to one. And Grievous is like, huh?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Before he can react, Yoda fucking snatches one of the lightsabers right out of his hand with the Force. And he's like, no, my collection. Yeah. And Yoda is like, fucks off. Yeah. So Grievous sounds the alarm that there are intruders in the base. And so they quickly figure out that the ship they allowed clearance.
Meanwhile, Anakin is like, ooh, the alarm's going off. I get to chop up droids now.
Except that like they're surrounded by they're surrounded by battle droids, and they're under like a lot of like they're outgunned. Mm-hmm. And one of the clones is like, we need to fall back. Like we're getting pretty thoroughly fucked here. And Anakin's like, well, we're not going to leave Yoda here. Also, if I die in this fight, that's fine because it'd be pretty badass. Yeah. So you switch to the POV of like one of the battle droids who is like,
Roger.
Yeah. He looks up and there's this tiny figure flying down at him with fucking 2 lightsabers. And Yoda just starts cutting through this whole like little mini army.
I imagine that battle droid would shit its pants if it had pants to shit.
And if it had time to react. Yeah. But Yoda just starts like carving through this horde of droids. And he kills a lot, like he destroys all of them. And Anakin's sitting there like, I might masturbate to this. That was pretty fucking cool. And so like Yoda turns off his lightsaber and, he walks up to him and he's like, well, the stealth thing was working out until it wasn't. So anyway, we need to get out of here before reinforcements get here. So they get on the frigate, they take off. The plan is to like jump to hyperspace and get away and then scuttle the ship. That way, like they could get any intelligence from it when they find it. And Anakin's like, okay, so what's the deal about Operation Titan? And Yoda's like, they're being built on Galatha. And Anakin's like, wait, like there as in plural? How many weapons are there? And he's like, it's actually a whole goddamn army, and it's just droids that are 4 times taller than the average man. Oh. And Anakin's like, it's weird that they thought that making them taller was the thing they had to do.
Yeah.
And
although I guess it makes sense with the name.
Yeah. And Yoda's like, oh yeah, they're also calling them mega droids. And Anakin's like, yeah, that's a dumbass name.
Kind of stupid, yeah.
And Yoda's like, right. Anyway, I can't have things running around that tall in general. There's this whole thing with my droid. I don't want to talk about it. So we're going to go and kill every one of the, like all the droids and shit. Like, are you ready for another road trip? And Anakin's like,
yes.
Thought you'd never ask. And then
I am literally vibrating with excitement.
Yeah. And we get the to be continued. I was going to do both because this run is really cool, but we have like a bunch of other shit to talk about. So I didn't want to run out of time. So we'll do the next one next week.
To be continued.
We'll probably do 2 more next week because I think we'll have more time to do it next week.